edge of the universe, 400 men and women are probing the immeasurable blackness of space. Their leaders are an Earthman with no fear and a stranger with no heart. Travel beyond our time and solar system, into new galaxies, into worlds beyond your dreams. Star Trek, every week, in color.
Oh my gosh, live on the internet. Live from Desi Blue Studios aboard the USS Fred Mertz, deep inside the Ricardo McGillicuddy cluster. It's Serious Star Trek. Hey, welcome back. I'm Dantron. I'm your engineer. I've got two hosts. I've got a man with no fear and a man with no heart. Which is which? I'll let you decide. The first, Dr. John E. Price, PhD, and the captain of fun, Larry Young. Captain Fun, what's up?
Hey, Dantron. Hey, John.
Happy Tuesday, guys.
Yeah, here to talk some stuff on the internet.
Wild.
I have no fear.
All right, I'll have no heart. I just love
heart.
Star Trek in color because
That
was a selling point in 1966.
Man, it's a good move.
I love it.
It's a good move. You know?
And that was a radio ad too.
Oh, was it?
Love it.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was a radio ad. Yeah.
I love it. What's up, everybody? How are we doing today on Tuesday?
Doing all right.
We're doing good.
Yeah,
That's
not
good.
doing too shabby.
I think
Got
I
a nice.
froze.
Larry's frozen.
Yeah,
You did-
that's 100% us. We're having some kind of connection stuff like we're in Virginia or something.
Classic California, you know.
I know.
You know.
Hey, I
So
started.
good news. I got good news, everybody. I've watched 3 or 4 episodes of Lower Decks.
Nice.
Oh, it's just what I was going to say. Did you see the last one? The latest one?
No.
All right. Well, I started watching it because I thought we would care. And I watched the first 10 minutes and I was like, I honestly got to get ready for something. I got to go do laundry or something. Literally anything was preferable. It's the Cerritos crew isn't in it. It's just they all get killed. And Peanut Gallery or whatever that fucking flying around
The little
exocom
exocom
is. Yeah. He gets destroyed, kills everybody. The credits isn't even the Cerritos because the Cerritos has been destroyed. And he gets picked up by some owl people and worshipped as a god in 10 minutes. And I'm like, I've seen this 1,000 times in 1,000 shows. There was like a Gilligan's Island about this. I know what happens. And at the end, the exocom redeems himself by moving back time and everybody's alive. Right? I don't have to watch the rest of this. And it's a cartoon, and I don't like owls very much. Because we have one that shits on my little tent in the backyard and I have to clean it up all the time. So making the aliens owl people is just like, I can't be Captain Fun and watch the rest of this.
Wow.
Which is so funny because you guys know I love Lower Decks. I love it. I even like
on record.
I even like the DS9 episode, and I don't like DS9, but it was funny. This is just like, hey, all the stuff you like about Lower Decks, let's do an episode without any of that.
Yeah, the whole Peanut Hamper thing. Now, I haven't seen the episode, but I know Peanut Hamper is very popular among the people who like Star Trek Discovery, which automatically makes it one of my least favorite parts of Lower Decks.
Oh, you have to tell me.
Yeah.
What is it? I get 100% what you mean, but what is it about that makes them?
I don't know.
It's more of that badgy shit, right? Where we're all supposed to be like morons and it's got Star Trek on it. All right.
They try to replace like clever. They try to it's not clever, but it is fun. And so it's like if you think clever is fun, you're gonna hate it because it's boring. But if you don't and you have like 3 brain cells, you're gonna be like, oh my god. You know?
I feel the comments section is totally vindicating us.
Yeah.
Tony's like, it sucks. Yeah. David Porter's like, it sucks. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that just makes me feel better.
It's not you, man.
But there was a couple Lower Decks episodes that I did watch that I thought were just really good, solid Star Trek episodes.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what makes this one so notable to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not every episode is going to be a home run, you know?
Yeah, no, Dan and I were talking off camera before you got here about, a base hit's a base hit. You're not always going to get a grand slam. I get that, but this wasn't just a bad episode. This was like an anal raping that I didn't ask for, It's like, it was like all the stuff you like is not in this one. Yeah. Hey, let's do an episode about that stupid thing that is for babies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry about that.
And again, the thing with Peanut Hamper, the thing that made it funny was that it the episode was, I think Tendi was the officer that was supposed to train Peanut Hamper or something. And at the end, Peanut Hamper was going to save the day. And then it was like, no, I'm not going to save the day. And it transported itself out into space, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So that's a funny, one episode gag. Right.
But so that's where this episode starts. They play that whole scene.
Oh, okay.
And then they follow what happens to Peanut Hamper.
Oh, see, right. So, right, exactly. So that's a funny one episode gag.
Right.
Just end it. That's it.
See, you don't even have to watch this one. You have predicted already that it's dumb and waste of your time.
Yeah, I'm smarter than this episode. I can live with that.
It was the Spock's. Spock's brain is charming because I saw it when I was like 12. And even I was like, they put the top of his skull back on and didn't harm a hair. That's what I want out of my TV science fiction.
Right now. That's really good precision.
Right, exactly. Dr. McCoy learned a lot of stuff.
So DCPFX has a good comment, right? He says basic filler episode. There's the problem. There should not be filler episodes. You're only doing 10 episode seasons, right? This is like, Discovery had this problem when season 1, they kept talking about, oh, it's going to be serialized. Everything's going to be serialized. And then in the middle of it, there was a boring episode where it was the mud episode where there was no plot advancement. It was just, oh, look at Harry Mudd. Isn't he wacky? And it's like, no, you can't have a filler episode. You can't. Daredevil doesn't have filler episodes. It has flashback episodes that advance the plot. It doesn't have filler episodes. There's a huge difference between the two, So I agree with you, Dave Ward. I'm just saying.
Well, I think they could do, what do they call a bottle episode? Sometimes they'll do Breaking Bad did the one with the fly where it was totally off model, but there was probably still even some plot.
I was going to say, you can still advance the plot. You can advance the plot a lot in a bottle episode, but either way. So anyway, I hate Lower Decks now, and I'm going to boycott. No, I'm kidding. I can't hate you. I can't hate you, Lower Decks. I still need to get a replacement uniform.
I was, that's when I said I wasn't going to wear my Deep Space Nine one today because it was too hot. I was going to throw on my Lower Decks one, and I didn't because I'm like, you know what? That's mean, rubbing it in John Price's face. I'm not gonna wear my Lower Decks uniform until he gets his back.
It's only a matter of time. When do I get
I'm remembering the other thing we should discuss for sure, Star Trek related, was that Picard trailer.
We're gonna talk about
it. Actually kind of made me want to watch Picard. That looked pretty cool. I want to see that stuff.
That's so funny because John and I want to shoot each other in the head.
I know, yeah, totally. Well, I go the other.
Tell us, man.
It looked like the other stuff looked like old man Picard alone in the future. I don't want to see that. I want to see the Enterprise, the gang, get back together and be on the Enterprise despite space battles. So that looked somewhat that's what I might have wanted to see out of a Picard series to begin with. So I'm kind of interested in it.
No, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Dave, well, here's my problem with that. I'm with you all the way until I remember that Picard's a robot. So all those guys, those aren't his friends. Those are dead Jean-Luc Picard's friends. Why are they coming to the aid of their toaster friend? Well, I guess it's a data thing. Oh shit, let's bring Lore in. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be great, and Moriarty showing up is some kind of funky way to bring in the artificial being thing all in together. So I kind of can see what they're doing.
I like it.
I love the uniforms. Worf as a pacifist is like, ugh, but then they hit it with a Riker joke. Oh, we're all gonna die. I'm like, yay! So, I mean, it's hitting the right stuff. I just wish this was season 1 instead of season 3.
I mean, Moriarty has killer potential as like a Khan type villain. I think I like because correct me if I'm wrong. Last we saw him, he had like a second episode, and they kind of fooled him at the end of that, and they just left him in the holodeck drifting, right? Basically, so
yeah, they put him.
And they're like, yeah, we'll look into that shit, and then never looked into that shit at all. Very steady alpha, whatever, you know.
Didn't they put him in? They put him in like a little cube, even, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, you can do anything with that character if you've got the cube, right? It's like Data. Like Data's not dead. You can just download him into another body.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, why not?
Data. I wish they had done that with Picard, though. You download that guy into a 12-year-old kid, and now give me that show, right? Because now he's Jean-Luc Picard. The problem is, like, you need a really good kid actor to really sell that gravitas of Patrick Stewart. But you know,
may I suggest one Mr. Tom Holland?
Right, it's not impossible. I'm just saying.
I think you both have really good points for basically the same reasons, right? If this was a promo for the first season of Star Trek Picard, we would all be like crazy, like going over the moon, right?
Yeah,
but it's
absolutely.
not.
I think so. Yeah,
and I understand what they're trying. So here's the deal. All right. Terry Matalas is all over Twitter. He's the showrunner for season 3. He's all over Twitter, talking, and him and his buddy Dave Blass, who's a graphic guy, they're all over Twitter. They're talking to all the Twitter people that I talk to. So in that respect, I kind of respect that part. But at the same time, it's like I wish you guys would shut up, right? So, but they keep promising, they keep saying, like, you just have to trust us. We just have to trust us. Everything's going to be great. And what they're trying to do is remember when Manny Cotto ran season 4, was season 3? Season 4 of Enterprise. And like, it was like all the stuff that the fans have been complaining about, he shoved into like 20 episodes. Right. All the stuff. Oh, we want to see the mirror universe. He did a mirror universe. We want to see this. He did right. So we want to see the augments. He did all that stuff, right? I feel like that's what they're gonna do with season 3 of Picard. All the stuff that everyone's gonna be complaining about, because let's not take our eye off the ball here. There are no defenders of Picard. There's a solid group of like 10,000 people who defend Discovery. Nobody defends Picard. Everybody hates Picard. Right. Everybody. Mainstream reviewers, people who like Discovery hate it. Like, everybody hates Picard. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to be like, yeah, just trust us. One more season. We're going to make everything right. We're going to give you all the good feelings that you wanted this whole time. We tried to do some weird artsy stuff and you didn't like it. So we're just going to give you all slop full of fan service, and I think that's what they're trying to do. The problem is, well, I don't know if it's a problem, but can you just erase season 1 and season 2 out of your memory and just go into season 3 as if they didn't happen, which is probably what
I can.
Yeah. I can. And if you can, you're probably going to enjoy it. Yeah.
Hey, Dan, I'm sorry. That was me, man. I'm hooked into your controls.
Oh my God, I'm freaking the fuck out over it.
I saw your face and I was like, dude, it was me.
Well, because it's coming from everywhere. It's like, who's got the keys to my kingdom? The only one I would trust is Captain Fun. I should have known.
I did that one other time and I forgot that it only came up Comic Book News. And this time all 3 of yours came up, so I don't know. But
that's wild. I didn't know it did that.
I won't post anything anymore. I love Major League 2, and John was talking a good point, so I didn't want to interrupt him, and then I caused all that.
Quite.
But getting back to, I think he's 100%. I think you're 100% right, John, about Picard. I don't think I can. They have to explain he's a robot, right?
But they didn't really explain it in season 2. In season 2, there was like a couple,
and everything.
A couple like one-off lines about, my Android memories or whatever, and then the rest of the season,
something when you got shocked
about it.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't integral to the plot at all. So I think for season 3, they're going to even have less integral to the plot.
Here's the thing: they've always got Star Trek always has multiple magical Deus Ex Machinas at their disposal. They got their Qs, they got their space anomalies that develop out of nothing. They've got godlike whatever. They've got nanotechnology, whatever they need. So, like, if they need to make him human, poof, that's doable as far as I know.
And frankly, it's baffling that they didn't do that last season, since the whole thing was so heavy on Q.
They had Q, right?
Like,
Please,
the whole thing was about Q and Picard's relationship, and which was very underdeveloped. But regardless, all they had to do was that very last episode. Q goes, "Thank you, Jean-Luc." And now all of a sudden, he's a human being again.
But
that Q disappears, and he's a human being again.
That makes total thematic sense, because every interaction with Q is testing what it means to be human.
Yeah.
Like, there was like 20 minutes of a Next Gen where they had to explain him falling asleep. I mean, that's awesome, right? You have all these godlike powers. Yeah. Anyway, so you're 100% right. Do all that nonsense if you want, but you have John Delancey right there.
Perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
They're talking about stuff. Just have him go, well, that I just wanted to learn something more about human beings. And thanks for your sacrifice. I'm going to put you back to wherever you were. And there you go.
You give me what I want. I'll give you what you want.
That better be the first scene of season 3. Because otherwise, why?
Well, yeah, you do that in a flashback or whatever. Like, that's really doable, and then that would let them write the course. Like, to me, I saw it and I go like, wow, Picard, this is Picard. Why is everybody dissing this thing? We got I want to see pacifist Worf with white hair. I really do want to see that.
I actually have a little comic-based theory about that. You know how nobody dies in comics? The whole, like, Jean Grey, she's dead. Oh no, she's Dark Phoenix. I think that's what it is. It's you killing major characters and kills the golden goose. It's why Harrison Ford couldn't talk Lucas into killing him at the end of Jedi. Can't sell action figures of dead characters. So that's what they did to Picard, except they did it thematically. It's like, now you're trying to hang season 3 on a dead character. And Star Trek just doesn't know. They boned Kirk's death. They boned Picard's death. They boned Data's death. Then they bring him back and bone that death again. It's like, it's because they don't really want them to be dead, because you can't sell action figures. Well, Star Trek can't sell action figures anyway.
I was just gonna say. I was at a big box store the other day, and there's literally just 2 aisles full of Star Wars stuff. Like, and it's not good stuff. It's cheap. It's stupid. Like $5 Star Wars stuff, and then you've got the big, expensive Star Wars stuff. But it's literally 2 aisles full of Star Wars stuff.
Is it Wars or Trek we're talking about, man?
Star Wars. I'm saying. But I'm saying, like, Star Trek, you have screwed up merchandising so bad.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like, so bad. Like, nothing. Anyway. Continue.
I thought you were saying there was aisles of Star Wars stuff because no one was buying it.
No.
Right.
No,
that was me.
That Star Trek was bad at merchandising.
That was me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Star Trek is, I'm sorry, as a toy, it's boring. It's like,
but it doesn't have
it's
to be
Eagle Moss. You want Eagle Moss. You want high end. You want classy. You want looks good on my old dude's curio cabinet.
It's only boring because they haven't made Star Trek fun since 1987.
Yes. Yeah, I agreed.
When I was a kid, I had 6 Star Wars Migos, and I would play with those for hours every day. The Star Trek is fun. I even had the Planet of the Apes guys. Every once in a while, I'd change clothes and make the Apes guys Enterprise characters. Nice. That was cool. But But Star Trek can be fun to play with toys. It's just there are no good toys.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
what are you gonna do? You're gonna play with a Michael Burnham character who her special ability is crying. Like, are you gonna play? Well, and like Saru's special ability is that he can sense death. Like, these aren't fun characters. No. You know, like Anson Mount is the only person having fun. Him and Ortega's. I mean, anyway.
Yeah. I'm with Chris. Where are the Lower Decks?
Yeah, Lower Decks. Lower Decks is fun. Give me a little Cerritos toy made out of plastic that I can smash around and have fun with.
Yeah, that would probably do well.
So, also, speaking of comic books, oh my God, I forgot that I led off with this episode was disappointing and needs to die. But I forgetting that I love all of Lower Decks otherwise. I got the first Lower Decks comic book, and I got like 8 pages in, and I was like, I have to buy a copy of this for John Price, who notoriously hates comic books, has no use for them.
True.
But the way they did this comic, it's just screen grabs from episodes or something, because the line weights go down. If it's like it's a bridge shot close up, it's nice and tight. But if it's 4 characters, it's like a quarter the size, you know? So it's a little disconcerting for a guy who knows how to read comic books. But if you just pick it like, oh, this is like every 48 frames, and I just have to read instead of listen to it, it's like a Lower Decks movie. It's insane. And, you know, it's exactly the same, because there's no like, oh, they had to draw the shuttlecraft. No, it looks exactly like the shuttlecraft from Lower Decks, because it is. Like, they have access to all that art. It's insane. Anyway, really good story. I forget the guy who was writing it. I think his first name was Ryan. Ryan Walton sounds right. I don't know. But that guy understands Lower Decks. And if he's writing an episode in a couple seasons, I would not be surprised. It's crazy good. Anyway. Support your local retailer. If not, go to Amazon.
Yeah, what are the good Star Trek comics? What are the best? What's the high water mark? I think we looked at them here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one that I sent around to you guys, the Adam Hughes one.
Adam Hughes stuff. Oh no, the John Byrne stuff. We got to look at the John Byrne.
Dude, that I actually looked to see if I could buy that, because I have the $50 hardcover. It's all the Byrne stuff, because I'm like, I'm gonna get John Price into Star Trek comics. Maybe not the whole form, but he's gonna read like, oh, Leonard McCoy, Frontier Doctor, and he's like, all right, I will fucking read this, and then it'll be amazing, and he'll be like, I hate myself, but that was great. And
that's the Byrne. That's one of the Byrne ones.
Yeah. I think that's his best one. I also like the number one. I thought, I swear to God, everything I said about Discovery before it came out, I thought they were just gonna do John Byrne's, riff on just following number one around.
They should have. Discovery should have been about number one. We can show the Facebook post to prove that we were saying that in 2017. That it should have just been number one. It's the perfect story. It's the perfect story to get into that world. But anyway, we've talked about that. The big problem I have with the Picard trailer is actually technical. It's very hard to see, and it's very hard to understand. Now, I should say the first time I saw it, it was very hard to see. Everything was very dark. It was very hard to understand. I had no idea what any of the characters were saying, other than like Frakes at one point said something that I remembered. But the villain, I had no idea what they were saying until I finally got a better quality or screenshots or captions or whatever it was, and I was able to actually break it. Oh, is that what they said? Oh, okay. And again, it's just it reeked of Nemesis to me. It reeked of Star Trek Nemesis, which is top 2 worst Star Trek movies. So
that's the one with the Khan reboot.
No, it's Tom Hardy Romulan.
Yeah, Tom Hardy is young Picard, clone Picard, and Data dies at the end, and
that
it's very sad and somber. Yeah, no, it's terrible. It's a terrible movie. It actually has some really cool stuff in it. A lot of cool ships in it, but as a movie, it's awful. So it just, the whole thing was very, and again, getting back to this idea of fun, Like All Good Things was a fun adventure, right? It's a fun adventure that wraps up the storyline of Jean-Luc Picard. I don't want to see miserable, depressing, dark. How many miserable, depressing, dark Star Treks do we need? Like, I swear to God, at this point, over half of the franchise is miserable, depressing, and dark. Like, everything created after Enterprise has just been, well, 2009. 2009 was fun. 2009 has a lot of problems.
I was going to say, I like that first
2009,
movie.
but like, that's a fun movie. It's a fun action adventure movie. Everything after that is miserable. Even Beyond, I like Star Trek Beyond, but it's a depressing movie. Like, it's like, oh, like you start off and he's like, everything feels episodic. Oh, I hate my life. I'm like, teacher, Starship Captain, I would kill for your life. But like literally, I mean, Into Darkness is like the worst movie ever made in humankind, as we know. Nemesis is terrible.
Into Darkness. That's the one I was thinking of, right?
Yeah. Into Darkness.
That's the one I saw and just couldn't believe how stupid that was. God awful, really bad.
Yeah.
But again, to my point, I mean, just to kind of complete the point, it's like how many times do we need to see a pissed off person from your past comes and wants to destroy the Federation? Okay, and now they have a ship and it's big and it's gonna fly in a nebula. Okay,
that's my problem. What does Amanda Plummer want in that trailer? I don't get it.
Who is Amanda Plummer? Like, right. I don't know who this character is.
Right.
Like, if you want to, and that's fine. Look, hey, don't get me wrong. An original character is a good thing. The last thing we need is some
I just loved all the shots of her going, fire. And it's like, you have to be Ricardo Montalban to pull that off, right?
Right.
Because who are you? She was great in Pulp Fiction, but who are you in Star Trek?
Yeah, who is that? Was I supposed to know that?
It's a new character. Yeah. Okay. I mean, again, and she kind of looks a little Romulan, and I'm like, is this a Romulan lady? I don't know what's going on in this trailer until I actually like.
If you look in every trailer, there's either an image or an actual line where the bad guy says, I don't think the good guy should get what he wants, and here's why. It's not hard. Yeah. Like, it's like it's obviously some kind of revenge thing, I guess. Like, but it's just because she's acting like she's mad, right?
Right.
But so what's the harm in going, you'll pay for stealing that $20 from me in that poker.
Right.
Just a line. Like, otherwise it's just like
especially if it's a new character. Like, I don't know who this person is. I don't know what they want. Yeah. Right. If it was Damon Bach, I could at least go back and say, oh, let me watch the episode with Damon Bach in it and figure out what he's pissed off about, But like, Red Letter Media has a funny joke in one of their videos. They're like, wasn't it great when trailers used to tell you the whole plot in like beat for beat, and then they show like a Ghostbusters trailer from 1984, and it's like, three scientists become exterminators of ghosts, and it's like, just like literally beat for beat the entire thing. That's what I want out of a Star Trek trailer, because you're not going into Star Trek for plot twists. Like, you're not. Like, this isn't.
And you don't have to explain the world, right? Like,
right, exactly. Be like, hey,
you know who these guys are. Here's the guys that are after
his friends for one last adventure.
I mean, even Wrath of Khan had it right in the title, right? It was like twisted.
Right, the twist is in the title. Right,
it was in totally upfront about it. All right, okay, I'm with you. You don't want M. Night Shyamalan's Star Trek with a?
I would love an M. Night Shyamalan Star Trek. Jonathan Frakes is not going to direct an M. Night Shyamalan Star Trek. Like,
but man, he gets so much crap, and he
I'm not giving him crap. I'm just saying, like, the Star Trek style direction, the Star Trek style is, here's, the twist is the philosophical debate. The twist is, maybe the bad guy is right. Maybe we need to, whatever. The twist is not, oh, my name's Khan, Anyway, that's all I got.
I'm with Darren, though. I would love them to let go of the Star Trek house style, right?
I would love that.
just let go of it. Give me that Quentin Tarantino movie.
Oh, it's just.
Give me that.
I was just gonna say that. Give me Tarantino.
Give me that M. Night Shyamalan ding dong. I mean, we had J.J. Abrams. Thanks a lot. That first one was great. Now give it to somebody else cool. You know? I mean,
that's the secret of the Marvel franchise, right? Too, is let the directors go do the Sam Raimi one, do the Taika Waititi one, and and show your directorial style. Do what you're paid for, not just be a homogenous sort of like house style of Star Trek.
I'll bring up Star Wars though, because it backfired with Star Wars. Queen Kathy, she wanted the Star Wars style, but with a little bit of variation. And what she got was a lot of variation, and she hated it.
Well, no, but here's what she got. She got variation. Some were not good. A couple were fucking fantastic.
Well, who's the guy they
it's your track record. They can't do it all right, but you got Mandalorian out of that approach by giving it to somebody and letting them sort of like trust their vision with the franchise characters. So I think that's the way.
Who's the guy they fired for?
It was Corey Trevorrow.
Yes, that's it. I couldn't think of his name.
It was, but that's the problem. They had the DC Snyder problem where Kathleen Kennedy, she panicked. Like after I mean, I think J.J. Abrams doing the first one is fine. He gets to do Star Wars again.
I love the first one.
I think Rian Johnson's is the best Star Wars movie ever because it's so singular vision. And then you let the guy who did an $800,000 time travel movie with Aubrey Plaza, who got Jurassic World as his next movie because of that, and then nailed that. Well, let him take his crack at Star Wars. And she just panicked. And they're like, oh, let's do what's safe thing that everybody wants. And it's like, then you get somehow Palpatine survived. And like, what? Come on.
No, she did. She definitely panicked, but it's because she wanted to put the Star Wars style on top of everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
What about Andor, John? Are you in on Andor?
I like Andor, but it is definitely not for everybody.
Well,
I'm not caught up. I haven't seen the last 2 episodes.
I don't think they told people that this is a 28 episode thing. And so everybody's like, nothing's happening. And it's like, yeah, because the first 3 episodes are like, what is that? I was told there'd be no math. 1/9 of the whole thing. It's not.
Is it 28 episodes?
Yeah.
Is it 28?
Yeah.
Over multiple seasons or
yeah,
one
2 seasons of 28 episodes.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Well, 14 episodes season, 2
but
seasons.
They're writing it like it's one long thing.
Right. And I do love that it's Tony Gilroy who like very famously like he shits all over Star Wars every interview he can get. He's like,
but you know what? He's shitting all over all their Star Wars house style too, which is why I love Andor. This is great, and everybody's like, it's not Star Wars. It's like you probably didn't like The Last Jedi either, right?
Well, I mean, it's why we like Lower Decks. We like Lower Decks because it's not a slow plotting Star Trek. It is a fun Star Trek using the Star Trek universe, right? And I mean, that's good. It's a good thing.
I just love Andor because I'm like, this is where Mon Mothma comes from. Because let's see, I was 20, I guess, in 1983 when Jedi came out, and I'm like, who is this?
Yeah.
Why is this is clearly like, oh, we got to jam another woman in here, and she's in a position of power. I'm like, no, give me that movie then. Like, how do I know? Why is it?
Larry, you know the Mon Mothma story?
I'm like, no, but like, why is Han Solo taking orders from this chick? It needs a line, man. Not a whole movie, but you can't just be like, I'm the person up here telling you what's what. Like, I guess that works in the first one, but not in the third one. You know, so now I'm like, oh, Star cool.
Wars,
I get Star Wars West Wing and following her, you know, and then I get action thing following Andor. I think that show's incredible and I love it. And people who don't like it are wrong.
There you go.
I'm gonna try to watch it again. I like more of it. Like I said, I tried the first episode and didn't make it through just because I'm an old man.
It's slow. The first episode's slow. Yeah.
They knew it though. That's why they did all 3 at once because they don't even introduce like a major character until the second episode. So it's like they knew that, don't watch just the first one.
They're like, seriously, no, you have to binge all 3.
Yeah.
We're not even giving you the option. Like,
I see why though. If you're just trying to watch it at night, nobody's going to be like, oh, I'm going to stay up till. Nobody with kids is. I'm going to stay up till 11 to see if this is okay or not.
So without giving away any potential intellectual property of your own, what would the next? Because they're never going to stop making Star Treks as long as Kurtzman's around. What do you think the next Star Trek should be? So whether it's a topic or whether it's a style, right? And again, I mean, we all have our ideas for the show that we want to show run. That's not what I'm asking. I'm just asking, like, the world we live in, they're going to keep making Star Treks, right? They're like, oh, we're going to make Section 31. Nobody wants to see Section 31, right? None of the 3 of us want to see Section 31, especially the Section 31 they're going to do. I don't want to see that. But what kind of show would you want to see? What kind of show would you want the Kurtzman regime, the terrorist Kurtzman regime, to make?
Is it okay, Dan? Because I have an answer for this. So I wrote this down. Actually, I did a comic book in 2004. Everybody says to me, oh, Larry, you're always talking about Star Trek. All right, Smarty, what would you do? And so I did this thing called For the Time Being, and it's my riff on Star Trek. So I can't use the Star Trek brand, but it's a time travel ship, like it's the US. What is it? What did I have it? The H.G. Wells. But it's, the time travel guys from Relativity, and they're chasing some guy, and they go into a wormhole or whatever, an anomaly, and the captain gets spread throughout time, just gets smeared, lightly buttered all through time. He exists at every moment. But bad news for him, he exists in the second of the Big Bang, all the way up to the present and into the future. And so 4.3 million years before there's a tree, right? And so he's gone insane. And he decides that these Star Trek guys, time travel guys, is where all the problems started. So he's going to fuck with them for the whole series. And so you go throughout the 4 major times of Star Trek, and every single fucking continuity error, something doesn't make sense, is this guy fucking with them.
There you go. There you go.
So you got a little quantum leap thing that you're trying to fix what went wrong. And they never kill the guy because he's their friend. He just like went nuts. And so you get the whole trope of the insane Starfleet captain, but with a new spin. And you get your standing sets are like a Kirk bridge, a Picard bridge, the time travel bridge, and something else that they use all the time. And then you just go with your green screen and put them into TV shows and go, oh, no, see, goddamn it, it's not James T. Kirk, it's James R. Kirk. Oh, that was Captain Dumbass. And everybody shuts up because, well, they didn't do this. Well, that's our next episode. Just wait, we'll get to whatever your problem is with Star Trek. And whoever does that will be heroes. Okay. And sell all the uniforms from all the eras and all the toys and all, but nobody wants to listen to somebody who knows how to do Star Trek.
I like it.
I love the idea of tying together the eras of Star Trek in one thing, and they haven't done that. They've tried. They're trying now. They're trying to bring, but to like really have a mashup like that would be super cool.
Have it be the reason that you're doing shit. Right? Oh, we're exploring strange new worlds. We're just picking up our trash from the last one. Come on, man. Put me in, coach. I'll write that forever.
I give that one season that's canceled.
Probably.
Fans
writing crying 24 hours a day because
there's definitely a Twitter campaign to bring it back.
Totally, huge campaign to bring it back that fails and everyone ignores.
I'll just
Dantron, what do you think, Dantron? What kind of Star Trek? Whether it's style of Star Trek or topic or era, what kind of Star Trek do you think?
Yeah, dude, I like where Strange New Worlds is at. I like that era. I like pre-Next Generation. Mm-hmm. I like Dilithium. That's what I want to see. I honestly do want to see more like of a look at like what is the political ramifications behind it. Whether you guys want to see that or not, I want to see like somebody like questioning, like, who is the anti-militaristic voice in the Star Trek universe on Earth or whatever? What's going on in those kind of scenarios? So I'd like to see that, and like the idea that like they're actually kind of like they're the Empire. You know what I mean? Like that they're more of like but like we're on the side of the Empire in that show.
I know what you're talking about. Really embrace the global war on terror sort of American hegemony sort of thing.
Yeah. Now Halo tried to do it, and I didn't finish Halo, so maybe that's not what I really want in my heart of hearts.
Nice.
I had the same experience with Halo. I wanted to like it. I'm not a gamer, so I'm like, this will be great. I don't care. I don't have any preconceived notions about it. And I was just like, what? Like everything I thought was cool, like they didn't explore. And the answer all my friends gave me was, well, that's a part of the game. I'm like, well, that's cool then. I guess I got to play the game because this show blows.
I love the game Halo. I played Halo for many, many years, and I have not seen it at all. I have no interest to see it whatsoever.
Well, what I heard, one of the big things is they kind of diverged. Like the creators are like, we didn't play the game. We didn't, they took elements, but sort of like went to put their own spin on it.
Because that always works. It is a cool world to play in. But I have three answers. Okay. My first answer is what I personally want to do, which is very much in line with what you're saying, Dantron. I think they have the perfect place for a political allegory. And I almost don't want to say this out loud because I think it's such a good idea. But after the Dominion War, after Romulus explodes, you have this massive refugee crisis. You have these two great empires vying. You have all of these terrorist groups, all of these splinter factions, right? You've got basically, you can very easily make it a Middle East allegory with all these different wars and everything, refugees and all that situation. So that's what I would like to see in like the Star Trek Picard time frame, which I honestly thought they were going to do that. I thought they would deal a lot more with Romulan refugees because it's such an obvious Star Trek thing to do.
Let's bring that up
but
and
instead they just cut that one guy's head off and anyway. So that's one answer. My second answer is I would like them to do movies that are much more standalone in terms of style and content. So like, why not do a horror movie Star Trek? Why not do a buddy comedy Star Trek? Why not do a Tarantino movie Star Trek? Like all you need is the world, and then you can put these characters in the world. Like The Fifth Element is basically a buddy cop movie, but it's in this crazy sci-fi world, right? I know that's a sacrilegious thing to say about Fifth Element, which is a great movie, but the point being, I would like them to just do that, where it's like, yeah, why not have a superhero movie in Star Trek, but the superhero is the bad guy, or whatever the case may be, right? And then my third answer, which is much more realistic, and what I think, yeah, sure, Twister in Star Trek. My third answer, which is much more realistic, and if I was advising the terrorist Kurtzman regime, this is what I would tell them. Do a procedural in Star Trek.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Procedurals in Star Trek. First of all, procedurals never die. Like we're on NCIS year 35 or something, right? There's always a ton of things. I don't care if it's a lawyer show. I don't care if it's a cop show, FBI show, whatever the case may be. Make X-Files in Star Trek, whatever. A procedural, it's just so mind-numbingly obvious to me that is something they should do. It's going to piss off a lot of people like me who are like, oh, Star Trek is sacred. You can't do this to Star Trek, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, if all you want is to keep the world going, stick it in the Lost era in between TOS and TNG. Stick it on a starbase. Where it's like, oh, we have to deal with the anomaly of the week, but we're a bunch of space cops, whatever the case may be.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to amend I'm thinking about this. I'm going to amend my. So here's what I want. I want it's post original series, pre Next Generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's got that Game of Thrones feel. So like one of our sets of characters is a Starfleet crew. One of our sets of characters is like Klingons. One of our sets of characters is Romulan, and they're equal sort of character levels, right? So it's not just all through the lens of Star Trek. Put all that happening, and then maybe the thing that happens is that shift that I've talked about, like the shift over to a post-dilithium economy. When they can synthesize dilithium, that would completely change the power dynamic in the galaxy and would change allegiances and would make a lot of things happen, driven by technological change. And it's an era of Star Trek we don't really see, and bridge the gap. And there'd be a lot of chaos perhaps in that time too. That's what I want.
No, I'm totally on board with you. And along with, like, you can't really screw many things up because there's not much there to begin with, right? So the fundamental mistake they made with Discovery was placing it in the TOS time era, when we already know everything about that era. Like, we know what the ships look like, we know what the uniforms look like. So every time they reinvented something, they were just pissing people off. Stick it in a time period that we don't know about. We would love to learn more. Stick a few monster maroons on them, and everyone will be happy. You know, there's
a show. Just make it, call it Star Trek Shaneman, and just have it everybody in monster maroons, and then it doesn't matter what happens, because you know Brian will get everybody to watch it.
Nobody complains that the NCIS canon is different in Las Vegas than it is in Chicago or whatever it is. You know, like, as long as you have like the framework, nobody cares, right? Anyway.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
So anyway, that's my pitch to the terrorist Kurtzman regime is a NCIS in Starfleet.
I think that's awesome, but like, why don't they could do that? Maybe they are working on it. Maybe that's what the Section 31 show is. No. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Section 31 they're going to make stupid.
Well,
they're
of course,
very stupid.
But wouldn't that be cool though, that you turn on the TV and there's that dumb Star Trek logo that they do, so you understand that you're watching something that takes place in the Star Trek universe. Anyway, I just think I think that's a useless bit of branding that they don't need, and it annoys me every time.
It is.
But then just have somebody go dum dum with a Dick Wolf, like, you know, cash machine thing, and just start it off. They already have the Federation JAG, right? I mean, there's that whole Measure of a Man episode. Dude, you can do that every time. What's the ethical thing of taking somebody's, you know, pattern buffer and putting
and just like JAG, you make him a former fighter pilot, so you get into cool stuff every now and then. You know,
I'm with you. Green light.
Show.
Okay, History Channel show. It's a documentary of Star Trek to tell you the history of Star Trek. So low budget. All it is like old Star Trek actors, like extras, sitting in front of a green screen, just doing some talking. So low budget. That would kill, though.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
I found this Type 1 phaser in my cookie jar.
So back in November of 1967, I told them, you can't have a black on the Enterprise. You know, stuff like that. You know?
No, you mean in world, right, Dan? Do you mean like a Josh Gates guy from Expedition Unknown, like just rampaging through the Federation, or just actual old guys from the real Star Trek TV show?
Okay, well, how about this? A series, because we never show them watching television in Star Trek. Like, that's something that's totally gone, but it's probably not. Like, somebody still watches television. They still listen to music. They probably still watch movies. Like, they didn't lose classic cinema. They know those references, right? So, like, show me like the stupidest sitcom that's like going on in the Star Trek universe currently.
Oh my God. That's a Lower Decks episode, right? They get to go to the planet where they shoot everybody's favorite show.
I love it.
Or just like flipping.
They all turn into fanboys.
And their favorite show is, and their favorite show is Hard Cut to Tony. Yo, Star Trek Raps.
Maybe that's
Follow my shuttlecraft for sure.
There we go.
I don't know. Now I want to see that. I'm gonna pitch that issue to IDW
There you go.
about Lower Decks. Come
Good
on, they
idea.
go. They're fanboys. Like, you need a fanboy episode for Star Trek, which is
They
what
already have.
started
They
being
already have the idea
fanboys.
that they already have the idea that there's like Klingon pop music. So why not? Why wouldn't there be fun shows?
Oh
on
yeah,
TV?
Janeway though, she loved that 1950s movie. So there's no way that media has gone away.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, we just never see it. That's all.
Yeah.
Real Wives of Vulcan. Wow, that's a sad show.
Or in the future, do they all just? Do we think in Star Trek they're like, instead of going to the movies, you go to the holodeck and you experience the movie? Is that how they do it in the future? Could be.
Yeah,
and it must be like TikTok or YouTube though, right? Because you'd have to have like people leading what's cool, because otherwise, you just end up Barclay, right? And just like,
true. So true.
I don't know. I think there's something to that. I think the holodeck is the entertainment, but there's got to be like a holodeck star. You know what I mean?
Everyone's too limp and dehydrated after a good holodeck section. Are you kidding me? Like, honestly, if it's like browsing the internet history, you definitely got to scrub your holodeck history.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to know what kind of shenanigans Dantron's getting up to in here. I'll tell you.
They do that in Lower Decks. Like, they have to swab out the holodeck. Like, that's the worst job on their ship, is like taking the mops.
Oh, hey, wait, guys, there was one. We got a few minutes left before we got to get out of here. I don't know, John, if you care about this subject at all. Did you see the Alan Moore story that's everywhere on the internet right now?
Tell us who Alan Moore is.
Okay,
I've heard the name. Okay.
Writer of... Yeah, he's the maybe the greatest. He's my favorite writer in comics, maybe the greatest in comics. He wrote the Watchmen. He wrote
From Hell,
V for Vendetta, and some killer Superman, Batman: The Killing Joke. A bunch of.
He should write a Star Trek.
Well, oh my god, that'd be great.
That would be great. Well,
you go to the Alan Moore planet where everybody's a mental case.
But the reason you're gonna love Alan Moore is because he hates comics now, John. Nice. So he's completely disavowed the industry. He's disavowed almost the art form, and his thing, the big story that's in the news, which he had said before, and I've talked about a little bit, is that superheroes, what he said is superhero movies, this fascination with superhero movies and simplistic narratives of justice and what have you, based on these adolescent boys' stories, is like the precursor to fascism in our society. It paves the way in people's minds for the easy solutions based in violence that like fascism peddles. Well, what do you think?
I would definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Larry? Captain Fun?
Alan Moore is not my favorite comic writer. He has 2 or 3 or 4 really good ideas, and then the rest of it is just nonsense, and it's stitched together with, pagan witchcraft and stuff that I just don't care about. Like, anyway, so Alan Moore has been saying that he's given up on comics forever, right? So this latest thing this week, I didn't even really check it other than just to clock that, there's Alan Moore saying he doesn't like comics anymore. It's just like, maybe his attention tank was getting kind of low, and he's like, yeah, and fuck it, I hated all those movies, although I cashed all my royalty checks. It's just, Alan Moore's, I don't know.
Well, he didn't cash all his royalty checks, though. He gave it
to Dave Gibbons. So, I mean, he did kind of in a way, right? This was money that was
David Lloyd on V for Vendetta and stuff.
Now I'm giving it to these other guys. So, I mean, it's not like he was like, no, keep it. I'm not involved. I don't know. Whatever. I think
either way, but there's something. But that aside, like, you don't have to love him.
I think that aside, I think he read Seduction of the Innocent and just said that his new attention thing for this week is, I'm going to say that comics are responsible for everything evil in the world, because people seem to like D&D now because of Game of Thrones, and video games aren't really harming anybody. So it's comics. Comics is what's wrong for everybody. And then he gets his attention, and he'll come up with something else in 3 or 4 months.
So do people disagree with him that comics aren't bad?
Well, many do. I mean, in the article, in the interview, he draws a straight line from Birth of a Nation.
Oh boy.
To the idea of masked vigilante superheroes, and like that a lot of it could have come from that. Now, I've talked with noted comics historian Ken Quattro, who definitely disagrees with this. Like, he's like, nah, Birth of a Nation. However, Birth of a Nation, I never realized, like, it was one of the biggest movies of all time. Like, it was a humongous blockbuster.
Oh yeah.
That, like, the Ku Klux Klan didn't do flaming crosses. Like, that came from the movie. Mm-hmm. They did, like, they picked that up. That became a real thing because, like, so it really did spread a lot of ideas in that era of America. So President Woodrow Wilson had a private screening at the White House. Not a good guy. Yeah, that's nuts. Yeah, nuts.
Not a good guy. That's actually really interesting. I'm going to use that in history class.
I mean, but it's just seduction of the innocent, Dan. I mean, you know,
But to be fair, I mean,
Zorro was Superman, the Ubermensch,
like,
you know.
There are definitely mass vigilantes before Birth of a Nation. So,
but Superman is the Ubermensch, right? So if
which
the whole thing comes from, you know, the power of the strong. It's fascism and all that. So it's like, yeah, right on, Alan Moore. I wish I had access to your drugs. And
Larry's just like, duh. Wait, who's that?
Yeah.
Wait, that's all right. She knows.
All right, I'll go off on how I think Watchmen is probably the most overrated comic of all time. If you have to take that,
whoa, got it. We should do that on the other show.
Larry. Oh, on the other show, of course.
You don't kill John Price.
I've never seen The Watchmen.
Although don't watch the movie. Stay away from the movie. Okay. If you're going to experience it, read the comic book, and you would enjoy it. You would enjoy it. You could. I actually think now it's funny because back when I loved Watchmen in the 80s, late and early 90s and stuff, like, the average Joe wasn't as versed in all the tropes of superheroes I think you need to be to appreciate some of the inside humor of Watchmen or inside references and stuff, where now everybody's ready, like everybody's fully primed on superhero basics, so you could be ready to step up.
You know what was a great show? The Tick.
I agree.
A great show, you know.
Are you talking about the two live actions or the anime?
Yeah, there was the one in the 90s, and there was the reboot that they did on Amazon Prime. They were both just really great shows. I really enjoyed that.
And the cartoon series, the
cartoon as well. Oh my God,
Cartoon's
his roommate, great. Who is always drinking his milk, just slays me to this day.
When you think about that, the Tick and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Mm-hmm. Two like indie black and white boom comics that went huge, had humongous franchise toy lines and multiple series. In the Tick's case, 3 series is pretty good. We're both essentially, if you read the comics they came from, were like parodies of Frank Miller. They were both heavily like parodying Frank Miller Daredevil in particular, which was huge. It was specifically Daredevil reference, like where Daredevil had Elektra in the comics, Tick had Oedipus, just like Elektra, and like
the Foot Clan.
Yeah, yes, and the Turtles, were the hands of Daredevil, right? Yeah, you get it.
Yeah, not just that. I mean, the radiation that causes them to be radioactive mutants is the stuff that blinded Daredevil and gave him his powers.
And so Splinter off of the stick, sort of thing. So it's all big. I just thought it was amazing that 2 huge franchises. One, Turtles, is as huge as anything has ever been. And it's like that comes from a parody of something Frank Miller did. Without Frank Miller, you don't have the Turtles.
I think. So we're talking about a really huge franchise that's coming out of the parody of something popular. And I think that really relates to Star Trek, because if Star Trek actually wants to become the huge franchise they can be, because they're not. I love my Star Trek, but it's not the huge franchise it wants to be. What they need to do is they need to be just self-parodying themselves, because like fuck Star Trek,
Well, that's where Orville came from, right? It's parodying Star Trek.
Yeah.
And
yeah, which is why Orville is better than Star Trek.
Yeah, did it better. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And what was that? The 50 Shades of Grey? That's comes out of Twilight fan fiction.
Yeah, Twilight
kind of a
fiction.
parody.
Yeah.
So it's not unknown. It's just it's crazy that it's so successful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Guys, that sound means that my wife is really angry at me. She needs to talk to me soon. But we got another minute or two here. I want to give you guys a choice before we get out of here. I'm going to be back on Thursday, by the way, a little earlier than usual. I'm going to be talking to our pal Ryan Claytor. Larry, you're welcome to join us on that conversation if you want to as well. It should be a lot of fun.
I will probably just watch it, honestly. Ryan's awesome, but I just would sit there like this the whole time. Keep talking, Ryan. You're fucking awesome.
He's gonna do a live demo of his mirror drawing concept thing.
That's awesome.
So it's gonna be great. What do we got? I got two choices today, guys. I've got what have we got? We've got a robot from the future or a world without zinc. Today, let's go with from the educational department. It's a world without zinc. We'll be back next week. When will it be? It's going to be, holy cow, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, Earth time, on the internet. See you then.
Hey, what gives?
You said you wanted to live in a world without zinc, Jimmy. Well, now your car has no battery.
But I promised Betty I'd pick her up by 6. I better give her a call.
Sorry, Jimmy. Without zinc for the rotary mechanism, there are no telephones.
Dear God, what have I done?
Oh, think again, Jimmy. You see, the firing pin in your gun was made of, zinc.
Come back, Zinc! Come back! Come back! Zinc! Come back! Zinc! 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 What? Oh, it was all a dream. Thank goodness I still live in a world of telephones, car batteries, handguns, and many things made of zinc.
Gross, he's picking his nose.